Go up and to the left and look at the dam itself. So out over the spillway right there, there's the normal spillway. Now see all of those trailers right there on the normal spillway. There's a staging area right there. This is where we usually see most of the people are right in here. So we do see some activity down there. Now if you just follow the spillway towards us, Andrew, so tilt down, there are some people over there, and keep coming towards us. That's kind of where they stand and monitor everything. You can see that area's lit up. They've got their trailers there. There's the folks I was looking for right there. A lot of the pictures we see from the emergency spillway are actually coming from where these folks are standing right here. Well, we're definitely seeing what Dirk was just talking about, and let's go back over to that parking lot right there, Andrew, and we can just kind of see how that's come out, and it's just kind of flowing out into there, and then you can see some white water coming down in there. Now that looks real small from here, but I can tell you when you look at it down there, that is really spilling. Now, here, let's give you some perspective. Go ahead and tilt up. I just saw something interesting, Andrew. Is that picnic tables right there? So that's picnic tables right there. So this could give you an idea of how large this area is. So let's kind of pull out from there, and we'll give you that kind of perspective of how much water is going down there and going over this area. And then keep on going over to the emergency spillway, and you can see how large an area this entire area is that's spilling water over here. Now I'm also looking out the window towards town, and I can see that the secondary reservoir down there, it's looking quite full as well. And should this surge down there, that might have a problem with it getting up to its level as well. I'm also seeing lots of emergency vehicles that are going through downtown. There are several helicopters out here from CHP and other agencies. They're all operating below me here, and we're all communicating in a safe manner here. But well, it's draining and it's carrying debris. It's carrying a lot of mud. Let's just keep following the river. Let's just keep following the river towards town. Andrew, you can zoom out and tilt up if you want. Well, this is a very deep ravine right here. So we're not really getting into the lowland. Andrew, can you go ahead and pan right and just kind of show downtown so we kind of get the lay of the land here? So we're going to follow the river down into the secondary reservoir down here. We can kind of see, so it goes, you can see this is a very steep canyon right here. This isn't really going to be the area that's so much of the issue, but as we go to the left in that bend, there's a secondary reservoir. You can see how high the water is up there and how much of a release is happening that. Now, the real area of concern is everywhere below this. So if you'll pull out, Andrew, and show the downtown area and how much or how high the river is in the downtown Oroville area, this is why the evacuations are happening. Probably something we can't quite see through the camera, but I am seeing emergency vehicle flashing lights all over town. So I know they're really getting the word out to folks down there that they need to move to higher ground. Andrew, I need you to go to the right. There it is. There's the evacuation right there. So these are the folks that are evacuating right now. So quite a bit of traffic that is leaving town. These folks are heading to the north. As you can see, that road is getting quite clogged at this point as everybody is heeding the advice and getting out of town. Keep coming towards us. Keep coming to the next overpass and then zoom out some. In there, with all the traffic getting out of town. That is exactly what's happening. Again, I'm at 3,000 feet over town, but we're seeing probably about a 3-mile backup. Starts just south of the river, and as Andrew was showing you just a moment ago on the camera there, you can see all of the folks trying to get out of downtown and onto the main road here so they can exit out to the north. That is the main exit way that everybody is going. You know, if you want to go to the south, you're heading towards Maryville. They're under evacuation as well, so you really don't want to be heading that way. I can see some of the other highways that head up into the hills. I see a lot of tail lights going that way, so a lot of folks are heading up into the high ground from here as well. As a matter of fact, Andrew, let's go ahead and pan to the right back towards the dam, and we'll just kind of come out, show the low-lying areas here of downtown Oroville, and there's the river as it goes through it. Keep coming to the right, if you would, Andrew. And I'm going to show some of the taillights of those people that are leaving town. So keep coming to the right, and we'll go zoom in right there in the center of your screen. You see folks heading for the high ground in the top right, Andrew. So move just to the right there, and you'll see there are the taillights of the folks leaving that are heading to the east. We've already seen the folks heading to the north. Not a whole lot of cars heading to the south, definitely not heading to the west because that's under evacuation as well. But we can see people are taking this seriously. They are leaving town. That's a good thing right now because we got the word out early and folks are taking this seriously and getting away from here. Now we'll go ahead and pull back out because I don't have much more flight time here. The sun is already set and we still need to get back to Sacramento. But let's take a look again at the dam. We'll zoom in on there and see what progress, if any, is happening over there. So it does look like everything is about like it was when we first got here. There's a lot of water coming over the top of the emergency spillway. The area of concern is off to the left there where the recreational parking lot has been, and that's where the water is spilling over there. And like we were talking about earlier, not designed to do that. So this is what's giving everyone the concern. This is what the reason is that all of this is going on. Much more significant. Let's take a look at the main spillway there, and I'm keeping my eyes open here. There's a lot of aircraft here, and I remember yesterday I had to depart because a lot of people were sightseeing over here. But the aircraft I'm seeing today are all emergency aircraft. I'm seeing CAL FIRE aircraft. I'm seeing CHP aircraft. There's a CHP airplane probably about to fly right through the shot right now. Yeah, they're below me by about 100, make that about 500 feet. There's a CHP airplane right there. So they're flying in this area. They're checking everything out. There are CHP helicopters that are out here as well. So there's a lot of water coming down here. The evacuation order is in progress, and we've seen everybody taking that seriously, getting out of town, and hopefully this will not go the way they are fearing. But right now, the way that water's coming over there, it's definitely something we best keep our eye on and take seriously.
again, if there's any question in your mind, they said to get out. This is a very serious situation. The initial emails and tweets that we saw from DWR were pretty scary, and they're saying this is not a drill. It's not a drill. They've probably planned for something like this to happen, but at this point, with this much water coming through, there's not much you can do. And Live Copter 3 is going to be heading out of this area pretty soon, but because we're losing daylight, and of course we want to keep Dave safe, but he was showing us earlier just all the traffic that in that area as folks are heeding the warnings, heading out of that area, evacuating, but it is having a ripple effect all the way from Oroville to Gridley, and Kelly also mentioned Marysville, Butte County evacuations are being placed right now. And as we're watching these pictures, again, Live Copter 3 is backing off the shot. They'll continue to keep the camera toward the dam there to give us these last pictures before there's no light left. But Dave is heading back to land safely, and we do appreciate all the video that he's taken the last couple days. If we want to kind of recap, we can show you some of the pictures, some of the video that we got, even some this morning from someone, believe it or not, who was standing at the bottom of the spillways, and we've just been seeing how much it has deteriorated over the last couple days. I mean, this was just this morning, and this is a picture of the actual original spillway that should just be a smooth concrete slide down to the bottom, and this is where that hole originally happened. This is where the original runoff from the emergency spillway was there on the left. But as the week has progressed, as they've gotten more rain, as that dam has filled up beyond capacity, it's pretty much just torn everything away in its path. And though they have cleared part of that hillside of trees and rocks, they've moved around some power lines. Now the concern is a level of erosion that we don't even quite know the extent of it right now. They're kind of just giving us these hazardous conditions, get everybody out of there, and then they're going to hold a press conference so we'll know a little bit more. But we saw even this morning just how much it's eroded that area. And that press conference should be happening momentarily, and of course we'll be carrying that for you. But if you're just joining us, this is a wider shot of the Oroville Dam over on the right side of your screen. All that white is the water just cascading over the emergency spillway right now, which officials say could potentially fail in a matter of moments, and that's why the evacuation orders are in place right now. And then over on the right of your screen, also that white, also more water just kind of pouring through the area. And Live Copter 3's Dave Allen has to head back to Sacramento tonight because we're quickly losing daylight and we want him to be safe. But Dave is also going to show us just the folks who are heading out of the Marysville area, which we will be able to see because of the headlights. As Dave heads back into town, we've just been getting some alerts that not only talked about Oroville and those low-lying areas, but also the city of Marysville and Butte County. And you see that long line of traffic there already. It's going to be interesting to see how they get everybody out at one time. Obviously, just from where Dave first saw that traffic closer up to Oroville, it had backed up for at least 3 miles. And so now all of these cities are getting out at the same time, and we're going to have to figure out where these folks are headed, many to the evacuation center, but north and east as well. And our meteorologists here are tracking some of the levels of the dam right now. They're tracking some of the deterioration, and we're also getting info from our producers as well as far as where we are headed next. And we are at the top of the hour, and we are continuing to follow breaking news in Oroville.
You're watching KCRA 3. We begin with breaking news.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We are following breaking news out of the Oroville area where the emergency spillway right now could potentially be failing at any moment now. DWR officials put out the notice around 4:30 this afternoon saying that there was some sort of erosion on that emergency spillway, which was activated just yesterday morning because of all the water that has been collecting in Lake Oroville. Earlier in the week on Tuesday was when we originally noticed the damage to the main spillway. There was a point where they cut off the water to kind of inspect that area, but really there isn't much they can do at this point because of the ongoing threat of more moisture. We are in the middle of winter right now. We're going to be seeing several rounds of wet weather, and they weren't going to be able to get to that hole, make repairs until later on this summer. And of course, just moments ago was when we heard about this problem at the second spillway, the emergency spillway, and all that white that you're seeing at the top of your screen, that is just water cascading, just pouring
pouring over the side. And, you know, just being here yesterday and seeing that same spot, it was barely a trickle. And you can see all that water just kind of pouring over to the left side of your screen. And it's having a huge impact downstream, folks who live near the Feather River. And that's why the evacuation orders are in place for folks living in Oroville all the way to Gridley. We're also getting notice that the city of Marysville, Butte County, folks living in that area are told to get out now for your safety.
And we were, you know, getting word that there could be a potential for a collapse. They were saying within the next hour, which we have passed now. So now you're looking at live pictures in Marysville. This threat, this evacuation is not only Oroville to Gridley, but now even further down, areas like Marysville, Butte County. And all of this, as we know, this water comes into the Feather River. That obviously feeds into the Sacramento River, which is a main artery, and it has effects all the way through for folks who live in Sacramento County. So not just at the dam itself, but those pictures are certainly eye-opening when you see how much water is coming out that has to go somewhere. Dave Allen is up in Live Copter 3. So Dave, even though you're heading home, you're seeing the effects even further down.
Definitely. We're over Highway 20, just coming up on the outskirts of Marysville here. I'm going to have Andrew tilt up. You can see there's a lot of water that borders that street right there. But the evacuations here are being taken seriously as well. And as we get into town, you'll see an even more traffic backup from lights. You'll see that there are emergency vehicles guiding people out, telling them it's time to leave town. We have mandatory evacuations here in the Marysville area as well as the Oroville area. So I'm looking all through town. As a matter of fact, you can see the bridge between the counties over the river up and to our right, Andrew. So if you go in through downtown, off to the right, there's the bridge right there. And you can see both bridges are full of traffic as well. So everybody is heading to the north and to the east out of town here.
And Dave, also want to point out we're getting all these evacuation orders. This is a fluid situation, a developing story, a breaking story, I should say. And this is coming from the Yuba County Sheriff's Office. So more communities added to that evacuation list. This includes Marysville, Hallwood, Olivehurst, Plumas Lake, as well as Wheatland. Marysville, Hallwood, Olivehurst, Plumas Lake, and Wheatland. And I'm sure that list will continue to grow.
And Dave, on a Sunday night, I mean, you're usually with us during the week and you see that rush hour here. Sunday night to see this much traffic on some of these, single lane roads is definitely surprising.
Well, to see this much traffic in an area like out here in Marysville is highly unusual. Now, we'll see this in Sacramento, maybe on a Friday night, we'll see traffic this thick. But we're definitely not going to see it unless there's something major happening, which there is. And remember, this area did have a flood in the big flood a few years back. But right now, I'm seeing a lot of evacuations happening. I'm seeing it, Andrew, if you'll go up, I want to show you how far back out over the Yolo bypass area. So keep going up and follow the traffic way out there, Andrew, out into the water area. And you'll see that this traffic is coming. It's going to keep going to the right. And we'll pick that road right back up, keep going right, keep going right. You'll come into it. There it is. So this is all of the traffic that is getting out of town both directions. You've got the folks that are heading to the west and the folks that are heading to the east. So we're definitely getting everyone out of town in Marysville. I'm looking at pretty much all of the streets have heavy traffic in Marysville right now.
Dave, you were just at Oroville Dam just moments ago, and again, for folks who are just joining us, Dave is heading back to Sacramento because there's not any light left and he's running low on fuel. So we know that you got to get back. But on your way, just kind of describe what you saw tonight versus what you saw yesterday morning when they originally let that water come through that emergency spillway.
Well, that emergency spillway, actually what happens there is it tops. The water comes up to a certain level and it's designed to just spill over. They don't have any control of that. You've heard Dirk talk about how it's uncontrolled. And that means that they have no way of regulating what exactly is going to come out of there. So what regulates it is the inflow. And once we got there, we just started watching that water spill over, and you could still kind of see the brown behind it of the earthen berm right there. And it was just slowly coming over there. The catch basin underneath it was very empty, and Mark Finan and I were talking about how that had to fill up and then kind of spill over the road that led to the parking lot. Now, what's happened since I was here yesterday is that basin not only filled up, but it eroded away that road, broke through that makeshift levee, if you will, and continued all the way down. We saw the broken guardrail there. We saw the road has been pretty much washed away. Then we kind of saw why this is happening. The lake got so high that it covered that parking lot and began to spill over the dam on the north side. And once it did that, which it wasn't designed to do, the water started cascading down. And one thing I was noticing, and we'll look at those shots a little bit later, but right at the northern edge of the emergency spillway, you see a lot of white water coming through there. That's going around the emergency spillway. And when you get high pressure like that, that's going to erode things from the side. So that's really what is kind of making this structure so weak at this point. But right now there is a lot more water coming over that than there was. I could certainly see the concern, and while we're flying home, I am seeing traffic that is just backed up every direction in towns that we normally don't see heavy traffic in ever.
Well, they want to make sure that we get this emergency evacuation order out the best that we can through television. We know the DWR, different sheriff's agencies, at CAL FIRE, everyone doing their part to get this warning out, to get to higher ground. For many, that means to Chico and a couple evacuation centers to the north. We have mentioned not just the areas around Oroville Dam, but also further downstream. Kathy mentioned Marysville, Hallwood, Olivehurst, Plumas Lake, Wheatland, and Butte County, Marysville, all those places that will be affected by how much water is coming down through here. The original advisory that we had got was saying that all of that severe erosion from that emergency spillway could lead to failure of the structure. So we still don't exactly know what that means, how much water is going to be coming out. But as Dave just showed us, and as he's watching traffic right now, folks are heeding the warning. They're getting out because we just don't know how severe this could be. And
also getting some information, if you are watching us and if you're living in the Butte County area, looks like there is a number that you can call to get some more information. 211. They have an emergency line set up for folks who have questions about this breaking news story. Also, Yuba Sutter County residents can call this number as well, 1-866-916-3566. So a lot of different information coming in at this hour as the evacuation order, the list continues to grow. But if you are joining us, these are some aerials that we got earlier today as Dave Allen was flying over the emergency spillway.
That's that guardrail he was just talking about that just kind of went over and washed out the road there.
And Mark Fine